YouTube. Ben celebrated his birthday by running around the farmyard naked with a group of young farmers. Funny, isn't it, how groups of young men who are almost fanatically heterosexual cannot wait to get their kids off in front of each other. Young farmers, rugby clubs, football supporters. It's almost as if... But no. Anyway, he was celebrating as he had been bought a horrible coloured car by Jill and Leonard. I'm laughing because my dog is racing around the lights underneath me, so sorry about that. Horrible coloured cars should be compulsory for all teenagers, I feel. Your first car should be either poo brown, vivid mauve, or a sort of bile green. It is very difficult to look cool and show off, or flex, as the young people call it, if you're sat at the wheel of something that looks like a pile of horse shit. Oh, how hilarious, said Freddie. You've got an awful car. That's really quite amusing. Look, Freddie, stop being patronising just because Ben's parents haven't got any money, apart from the £500,000 they've spunked up the wall on an architect-designed barn wedding venue that is now going to be unusable for a year because of bloody coronavirus. Grandma's done me a real solid, said Ben. No, Ben, you're driving around in something that looks like a real solid, and good for you. They decided to try it out, and Jill popped out, pulling on her North Face puffer and black Air Force Ones. They wanted to trundle around the farm, but Jill insisted they sniffed glue on the bypass and ram-raided the shop. On the journey, Ben announced that Leonard had left a sponge in the boot. A sponge what? Sponge cake? Bath sponge? Or maybe Jill and Leonard had been for a little joyride of their own and left Jill's diaphragm in the back. But the best news is Lindy Bottom is back. Robert was chuntering onto Lillian about breaking up with Bobo, which I have been singing for the last week to the tune of Making Plans for Nigel. Anyway, apparently he met Linda at a charity event, raising funds for distressed Sri Lankan woodlice, and she promptly invited him for a litter pick. Like an idiot, he went, and that was that. Anyway, while he was reminiscing with Lillian, Linda was frantically ringing bells, waving her arms, and generally indicating that if he could just stop talking to Lillian for a minute, she'd quite like some water and a bit of attention. Now she was back from the dead and everything. This week, chaps, is a bit unusual as my sister is holding the camera for me and the dog and the cat are both hunting mice around the sitting room. So it's quite difficult to concentrate, but I'm doing my best. Astonishingly, the Gay Greyballs Health Club is reopening. Really? That's breathtakingly fast. There's some new classes, weight training with bits of the gas oven, hod carrying to a Zumba beat, and extreme social distancing from Philip Moss. Oliver helped Ed with the lambs. I found out something new about myself, Oliver said. I don't like lambs. Also, I'm rubbish in a crisis and quite old. Your time will come, Oliver. There will be some sort of village emergency, probably involving the Grundys, that can only be solved by someone in tweeds with a working knowledge of operatic Italian. Talking of emergencies, Linda asked Lillian if she could have a squiz in her hand mirror. Lillian refers to her makeup bag as her emergency repair kit. It contains a pump, some WD-40, and a roll of double-sided sticky tape. I see what she means. Jazza is cracking up. He's practicing self-isolation in his little hydroponic den. He keeps inventing problems to make Adam come and find him, but Adam can't as he has so much to do. Incidentally, surely Adam has taken over from Brian, right? And Home Farm is now 3 times more automated than it was in Brian's day, yes? So how on earth did Brian have the time to swan about in a cravat, rogering everyone that couldn't get away quick enough? If he ever said he was tired, it was only during spring, and that was more due to the fact that he'd got 6 women on a rota in the lambing shed than anything else. So was Brian a terrible farmer, or is Adam? Something's going wrong somewhere. Brian would have got home and chased Jenny Darling round the hot water tap. Adam doesn't sound as if he could get his own morale up, never mind anything else. Anyway, someone needs to stage an intervention for Jazza. When he was chatting away to the pigs and sharing his cans of lager with them, that seemed relatively normal. But setting up a bunker in the corner of a fish tank is not normal. That is not even Roy Tucker normal. Ed and Emma have forgotten they're getting divorced. Hooray! And it was all very cosy and do you remember this, Ed? And do you remember that, Ed? Over at Ambridge View, while Emma tried fruitlessly to scrub Ribena off the china leopards either side of the fireplace. Susan and Neil are, of course, in Lanzarote, where Neil is doing the Macarena and Susan is doing the wine waiter. Krusty's not having a great week. There was an unfortunate incident involving her fiancé breaking the modern slavery laws and keeping people economic prisoner. Oh, it could happen to anyone, Krusty. And then she had to become Roy's carer as he's lost his marbles, entirely because he got banged on the head with some toast during the Gay Grable's explosion and now has concussion, which had to be pointed out to him by Brian, who found him in the garden cleaning his slippers with an oven glove in the nude. Ideally, the person who is organising the entertainment for your forthcoming wedding should not be heavily concussed, but beggars can't be choosers. Roy seems to have picked something called the Edgeley Exciter for Krusty's wedding. He's under the impression that's a DJ, but it sounds to me like something entirely different, and Roy's got his websites muddled. Still, hang on to it though, Krusty. It might be handy once you get rid of your gangmaster fiancé. Now, could I make a plea, scriptwriters? I don't know if I'm speaking just for myself here or whether anyone else shares this view, but this is coming from the heart. Life is a sod, particularly at the moment. We get that. It's unfair. Any success is down to luck, and it's quite a mean way to live. But could we pick on someone who was not Krusty? She's hooked up with Sausage Boy. She was jilted at the altar. Her best friend was sent to prison. She had an unexpected pregnancy. She suffered a miscarriage. Her workplace explodes. And now she's due to marry an exploitative criminal. If I lived in Ambridge, I wouldn't get in a car with Krusty, as the brake pipes would be sure to have been eaten through by rare Madagascan boll weevils. She's like the village Job. There are other women in the village, You could maybe share it around a bit. Or how about a man? Or have you put her through all this so that in the summer she wins the lottery, begins a relationship with Rufus Sewell, wins a Nobel Prize for saving all of the natures, and becomes bestie friends with Greta Thunberg, and accidentally runs over Jennifer Aldrich because Jennifer doesn't hear her electric limousine coming? Any or all of those would do, scriptwriters, but please, no more Krusty cruelty. It's too much. The end. Thank you. See you next week. Bye.
If you enjoyed watching Lucy V. Freeman give you loads of gossip about Ambridge, and I don't know why you would, I'm not a fan of gossip myself, then you can subscribe to this channel by clicking the button. That means you won't miss any more updates on what's going on. And you can also listen to Lucy Roifield and other The Archers listeners on Dumpty Dum, the weekly podcast. Don't tell anyone I said anything though, will you?